evening to everyone, although it's early in the morning here in Toronto. But I'm really happy to connect with all of you, and should firstly thank Pyramid e-Services for putting this together. They are our trusted partners. We've worked very closely with them over these years, and we continue to work with them. So, what I will strongly recommend is I'm open to taking questions. Please hold off the questions if you want to ask them uh, through the through voice. If you want to type your questions, I can absolutely read the chat window and then answer the questions. But I'll probably give you a little bit information about the institute first and what sort of offerings you can look at, and then maybe take your questions in the end. So, as Aman said, my name is Dhruv Mohan. I represent the School of Continuing Studies within York University. I'm the manager recruitment for Southeast Asia and India. So I work very closely with the team. Before this pandemic situation happened, I regularly visit India, connect with the students, and we've got good high quality students studying with us through Pyramid. So moving on, as I mentioned, I represent the School of Continuing Studies within York University. York is the third largest university in Canada, established in 1959, catering to about 55,000 students that come and study with us from about 178 countries from across the globe. So, in terms of the experience, it's a truly global experience that you can look forward to, and I can vouch for the same. Canada is obviously a multicultural society. York is a multicultural institute, so you would obviously get an opportunity to engage with students from different parts of the world. In terms of infrastructure, also I will talk a little bit about our campuses. York has two campuses, the main campus, which is the Keele campus, and the second one is the Glendon campus, which is a bilingual campus. So if you were to come and study in English or French, you could go and study at the Glendon campus, although predominantly international students study at the Keele campus. In terms of infrastructure, York is unique because one of the more important factors as an international student is also the proximity of the institute, how easy or difficult it is to get to the university. We have a subway station right inside the campus, so you could be anywhere in the Greater Toronto area, whether it be downtown, whether it be Mississauga, whether it be Brampton. You could come to the university very easily. So there are buses that also operate from Brampton that bring you right inside the campus, or there is a subway station which is inside the university. So downtown is about 40 minutes away on the subway. So it's very easy to get to the institute, whether it is summer or it is winter. And let me also put this across: the winters can get a little bit harsh, so be prepared for the winters, although we are heading into summers, which is a good thing. Toronto is beautiful over summers. Moving on, in terms of giving you exposure, so York believes in holistic teaching and learning. What that means is you get exposed to other aspects at the university, which includes socio-cultural activities. There are 300 plus clubs that you can be a part of. There are 40 restaurants on campus, so you could get exposed to any cuisine that you want. There are about 1,900 jobs available on campus each year at York. We also have athletic facilities, gym, In fact, we have 3 gyms. We've got tennis courts. We've got Olympic-sized pool. So there is a lot of things that can be done outside of academics as well. We've got 5 libraries, the biggest being the Scott Library. So there is a lot to look forward to, and even in terms of other activities, you could, as I mentioned, be part of different clubs. So I think the real value lies in learning not just inside the classroom but outside the classroom as well. So I would strongly recommend that if you end up coming to York, please engage in these extracurricular activities as well. I know everything is virtual right now, all our classes are virtual, but we are also engaging in these socio-cultural activities virtually. So there is a coffee session that is happening for international students twice a week on Zoom. There are also athletic classes that are happening on Zoom, which is happening every Thursday. So there we've tried to make sure that the holistic experience is still happening for students, whether it's online, and hopefully it'll happen face to face sooner than later. Moving on a little bit about the School of Continuing Studies. So the School of Continuing Studies was established 5 years ago. It has 2 aspects to it. One being the continued professional education, which is imparted through postgraduate certificate programs, and the other one is the English Language Institute, through which we offer pathway programs to get into your degrees or postgrad program. So if your English scores are not as desired, but you have the academic scores, then you could look at the English pathway program. So on that note, I would like to focus a little bit about what are the sort of programs that you can look at. So in terms of the postgrad certificate programs, these are programs which are 8-month long, but spread over 2 academic sessions, which means if you study 8 months, then you get similar in terms of the time span postgraduate work permit, and then you can also look to add another program to the first program to increase the length of the PGWP. We offer these programs predominantly in the area of business. So we've got a program in business administration, human resource management, accounting at 2 levels, which is basic accounting and advanced professional accounting, digital and content marketing, public relation, and for the first time over fall we are offering a program in backend and blockchain development. So if you come with a business background and want to further upskill yourself, then absolutely you can look at one of these options, but not necessarily if you come from a business background you should be looking at these options. You could be from any background and pick one of these programs, except for the backend and blockchain program where we need a relevant degree. So only if you are a computer science, IT, or an engineering graduate in software engineering or computer science engineering, can you apply for the backend and the blockchain development program. But for the others, you could be from an engineering background. If you need to upskill yourself in business related area, absolutely you could apply for the business administration program. So what we would still want to look at is why do you intend to change your stream, what's your aspiration, or what do you intend doing, right? So that's an important factor. We would want to know how you see yourself progressing. In terms of the entry requirements into these programs, we need a finished degree. and the overall aggregate needed is a 60%. There is an IELTS requirement as well, which is at a 6 IELTS, but what I will strongly recommend is the higher the IELTS, the better. We get a very strong pool of applications. So with the 6 IELTS, you might be able to submit the application, but there could be a possibility that it might not go through. So the higher the IELTS, the better. If you're not able to secure a 6 or you have a 6 overall and maybe 1 or 2 bands are lagging, then you could look at the English language program, and there are options that you could do to strengthen your application and meet the desired proficiency. So if you have a 6 IELTS overall and maybe 1 band 5.5 or 2 bands 5.5, then there is a possibility to do 2 months of English on campus with our language institute, which is in like 10 minutes away from where your postgrad certificate classes would happen. So it's a very easy transition. You study 2 months of English and then you get into the PG certificate program, and we will be able to release a conditional offer for that as well. So if you're not able to get the desired English scores, please don't feel sad. There are options available out there with us that you can look at through the academic program. If the overall score is above 6, which is like a 6.5, then you could directly look to get into the program, right? So then even if one module is 5.5, there is no need to go through the English program, right? So that is something that I wanted to share with you as well. In terms of these programs that I've been talking about, whether it is the business program or it is the HR program, few things I would want to put across about these programs is these fall under continued professional education, which means they are developed in alignment with what the industry needs are. They focus on an amalgamation of practice and theory. So it's not just theoretical knowledge that you are acquiring, but also at the same time you are being prepared of how you would use this knowledge in a real world scenario. So I will talk a little bit about each of these programs very, very briefly. So for example, the business admin program, for those who've got limited background in business, it will make a lot of sense to look at this program. So the program focuses on the current economic, social, environmental, business trends in Canada and overseas. It has courses focusing on accounting, business communication, business strategy, fundamentals of business. And as I mentioned before, it is an 8-month program and also focuses on cross-functional skills like communication, critical thinking, teamwork. So these are not mere words anymore. For you to succeed, you need to understand how important working in a team is. It's critical for you to develop strategic thinking. One question has popped up on my screen asking about backlogs. I'll take this opportunity to clear that I know typically engineering students have backlogs. Unfortunately, we can't look at more than one backlog. So please be mindful of that. Don't be disheartened. At York SCS, we can't look at more than one backlog. So please, when you're putting in your application, be mindful of that. So that's a little bit about the business program. And as I said, the soft skills are very, very important as well. When you're looking at management side of things, And as I mentioned, the programs provide you an opportunity, and they are an amalgamation of practice and theory. If I were to talk about our accounting program, again, as I said, the accounting program is delivered over two levels, the basic accounting program and then the advanced accounting program as well, professional accounting program. So, and I'll talk a little bit about these programs. So, for example, the accounting program focuses on areas like applied corporate finance, fundamentals of financial accounting, introduction to managerial accounting, and few of the USPs of the accounting program include that it's a course that is approved by CPA and can be applied towards CPA designation. So the focus is on accounting knowledge and skills, but at the same time also focusing on cross functional skills like communication and critical thinking. So, and I'll keep on saying this, the soft skills are equally important for you to get a good job opportunity here in Canada, because otherwise it gets very, very difficult. So the career options or the outcomes that you could look at through the accounting program could vary from an accounts payable coordinator to a general accounting clerk. The program helps you engage in industry panel discussions and also gives you an opportunity for CPA networking. So it is an approved program by CPA, and through the accounting program and the advanced accounting program, there is a career path that you could look at. So if you start with the basic accounting program and then add on the advanced accounting program, that leads to the CPA professional education program, and then you will need work experience on top of it to sit the CPA common final exam, and then you could be a practicing CPA. So there is a designated path that you can follow through both these programs, and some of the courses that are taught in these programs are also equivalent to the courses that you will learn in the prep program for CPA. So what will then happen is, if you do these programs, you could get a waiver when you're doing the prep program for those courses, and save on some time. So it is a designated pathway that you could look at. Again, the advanced accounting program would focus on different aspects like advanced financial accounting, intermediate financial accounting, and then auditing. So then you are obviously gaining and attaining your domain knowledge and strengthening the same. The career outcomes could range from being an accounting or finance supervisor to intermediate accountant. So obviously there is a range of roles that you can look at when you do the accounting program. One thing which is consistent is that these programs prepare you absolutely for a real world scenario. I've got a question popping up about internship. So the two programs that actually offer internship opportunities is the PR program and the newly launched backend and blockchain program. So, but for the other programs, as I mentioned, there is a work integrated learning model. So basically, there is an amalgamation of practice and theory. The internships are optional internships happening towards the end of the program, but only for those two, right? So that's very, very important to know. I think I saw a question about BCom, or maybe I'll run through the questions in a bit. Let me just finish talking a little bit more about the other programs that we have to offer. So moving on, similarly, in terms of the human resource management program, it's a postgrad certificate, and we focus on the core competencies for an HR professional, which are determined by the Human Resource Professional Association, or the HRPA. And then again, the focus is on critical thinking, analyzing problems, and the practice exercising influence across an organization, with obviously focusing on communication and negotiation skills as well. So some of the courses that you could look at as part of the HR program would include an introduction to organizational behavior, occupational health and safety, HR planning, recruitment and selection. So these are core competencies that you would need as a HR professional anyways. It gives you an opportunity to do networking with HRPA. We also get people from the industry to come and host panel discussions. In terms of the program, as the courses run in the program are approved by HRPA, they can be applied towards any of the few designations, like the CHRP, which is leading to an HR assistant or an HR associate, which is the entry level positions, or as you move on into a managerial role, which is what is called as a CHRL, and you could be a HR manager or a HR business partner, or then moving further as a CHRE, which is a certified human resource executive, and by then you're looking at as designations like a vice president HR or a senior director HR. So again, these are defined pathways that you could look at through the HR program. One thing I would also want to put across is that these are full-time programs, which means you have dedicated classes, and also the business, accounting and HR programs are offered 3 times in a year, over winter, summer and fall. As we speak, we've just started our new session over summer, and then the next one would be in September. For programs like public relations, digital content marketing, backend and blockchain development, we currently only have one intake, which is in September, which is our upcoming intake. So please also be mindful of that. If you're looking at a PR, marketing, or backend blockchain development, that then there is only one intake available, right? And I know the situation is very volatile right now, but having said that, we are delivering all our classes online as we speak. Our May intake is completely online. We are hoping that the situation gets better and we would be able to conduct classes in person over fall. But if for 1% it doesn't happen, then please be rest assured we are already doing classes online and students are studying with us. So I don't think that should be an area of concern. In terms of delivery, we've been delivering online classes for a long time at the School of Continuing Studies. The teaching and learning methodology, we understand. All this happened very quickly, so we had to go online almost overnight, and we were successfully able to do that. We are doing classes in synchronous and asynchronous mode, which means we are also trying to ensure that they are being delivered at a time slot which could be convenient for the students. The reason being, we want to be very student centric. So we are aiming that you don't have to wake up at 12 o'clock in the night and take the classes. Hopefully we can do these classes at time slot that is more convenient for the students, right? So we are taking that into account as well. Just like I'm doing this session, it's very early in the morning, but I know it could be more convenient for the students to do this in the afternoon. So I'm taking that into account. So we are trying to be very student centric, and I think that's very, very important in today's time. So please be rest assured, the online classes are, I think in some aspect they are better. The reason being, you are also saving on few expenses like your residences or the food, and at the same time, till this pandemic is there, at least you are not deviating from your study path. So you are not postponing things if you're starting classes online. Once things get better, you will always have an opportunity to come back into the classroom, but at least you've not prolonged or delayed that process. So if you finished your undergrad and if you want to do a postgrad, then just because the situation is such that you can't get into a classroom should not affect your decision making. So that's something that I would surely want to put across, is the fact that all the classrooms are currently online, and then moving forward we will keep you informed depending on what the Canadian government informs the institutes to do when the travel restrictions are uplifted. So those aspects obviously change with each passing day. At this stage, it will not be easy for me to comment on it. So, but we will keep all the students informed that have secured an offer for the fall intake. Very quickly, also moving on, as I mentioned, there are other couple of programs. I would firstly want to talk about the backend and blockchain development program. So it's the first and only technical blockchain certificate program delivered by a Canadian university. And I think in today's time, it's a testament of how important it is to be in sync with what the industry demands are. So if you come with a computer science background, software engineering background, or an IT background, this is a great program for you to look at. So there are three options in terms of the practical streams that the students can choose from into this program. One being the employment, that is, the university will match the student to a business for a blockchain project. The entrepreneurship option, where the student applies to Innovation York with access to Innovation Hub at YSpace, which is inside the campus, and also an independent project that the student might take. So there are three options that the student could look at, and then obviously there is a optional internship as part of one of these three options, which happens towards the end of the program. So at the end of this program, you could look towards outcome of becoming a blockchain developer or an engineer or a software developer. One differentiating factor between this program and the others is that we need a higher IELTS score for this. So for this program, we need a 6.5 overall, and each band 6.5 as well. So the IELTS requirements are on the higher side for this program. What I'll also suggest is all these programs and program details are very much available on the website. Please have a look on the website as well. So and then later, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them. And then or you could direct it to the team at Pyramid. And then finally, I would talk very quickly about our programs in digital content marketing and PR. So the digital content marketing program, just like other programs, is a forward-looking program. Gone are the days when you're looking at engaging in the traditional marketing space. If I'm doing this Zoom session and it is not on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, it has not happened. So in today's world, if you're not out there digitally, it's very hard for you to survive. So keeping that in mind, we've also introduced a program that caters to that need. The digital and content marketing program is obviously forward-looking, and then caters to aspects like business and digital age, content promotion and amplification, fundamentals of digital marketing, marketing for search engines and social media. So all these aspects are covered as part of the digital and content marketing program. The growth in the digital marketing jobs has been 164%, which is insane, but that's the sort of opportunity that you could look at. Few of the job titles that you could look at after completing this program could include a digital marketing coordinator or an associate or a content marketer. So there is a wide variety of options available in the market space once you complete the digital marketing program as well. All right, so I'll continue. So in terms of the public relation program, the courses focus on content creation, strategic messaging, storytelling, fundamentals of PR, integrated marketing strategies. So very much in sync again with what is expected from the industry. And then obviously opportunities are correlational. So future job roles could look like a PR coordinator or an assistant or a communications coordinator. There's a 30% growth in PR jobs in the Greater Toronto area as well. So the added value is an international association we've got International Association of Business Communicators and Canadian PR Society networking. So that is helpful as an international student to engage with these professional bodies when you're coming and doing these programs. What I will now do is, because I've been able to cover majority of the programs that are on offer, I am more than happy to now look at the chat window and see if there are any specific questions. So for the ones that there's a question from Parvinder asking, I've got a 55% in bachelor's. So as I mentioned before, our requirement is a 60% in undergrad for you to apply. I've got a 63% in IT. Subjot, with a 63%, you will be able to apply depending on which program. So you've applied for the HR program, yes. So you fulfill the prerequisite, academic prerequisite, but in terms of IELTS score, I don't know what the score is like. So that will also be a deciding factor. I think you've got a 6 and 5.5. So as I was mentioning before, if you got a 6 and a 5.5, there is an option where you could look to do a 2-month English program with us to strengthen your profile. And Pyramid would have details related to the same. So please connect with someone at Pyramid and they'll let you know how you can process this further. So I'm just skimming through these questions. So I've got a question around the pandemic, and as I've mentioned before, we are currently doing classes online. If the situation is the same, we'll probably have to look at online classes. I cannot comment right now. It will completely be dependent on what the Canadian government decides, or whether travel restrictions are uplifted or not. But we are prepared either way. So we are delivering online right now. If the situation gets better, obviously we'll go into classrooms. But then we are more than capable of delivering it online if the government feels that the process will need to be delayed. So it's completely dependent on how things unfold. So with 15 backlogs, it will not be easy to put in your application. As I mentioned, we can't look at more than one backlog. Okay, so we understand that India is in a lockdown situation. If your acceptance date is 15th May, what you can do is you can ask help from the Pyramid team. They can send us a list of students that want an extension, and you can state that obviously things are in a lockdown and it's difficult for you to make a payment. We can see till when can we look towards an extension, but you will have to put in a request if you're looking at an extension. So please connect with the Pyramid team, and then we can take it forward from there. So if you have a 6 each and overall 6 as well, please, you could directly apply because you would be meeting the minimum requirement. So then I have a question on 6 overall and 5.5 in 2 modules. I've already spoken through the academic program. You could study 2 months of English on campus at the Language Institute at York University, and then progress into the certificate program. So I have a question about PGWP. What happens if the classes are virtual? So as per the current IRCC update, 50% of your program could be taken online and the PGWP would not be affected. But again, I will not be able to comment whether there will be any amendment to this moving forward. So at this stage, we are preparing for face-to-face classes, but if the situation is still the same, or it doesn't change, or the travel restrictions are not uplifted, then it'll be hard for me to comment on behalf of the IRCC. So we will have to wait and watch in terms of the PGWP, how that's going to affect. But to be honest, just like and I think they are very much aware of the situation. So I'm hoping that some amendments might come. I don't know. It's very difficult for me to say it. But what I can only say is we are more than capable in terms of delivering it online, right? So for the PGWP, we'll all have to wait and watch.
Pyramid, Visa for a better life.